Greetings YouTube. This is my new SwissCard. It was a birthday gift from my wife. So why do I have a new SwissCard? I have spoken about the fact in the past that I love this thing and I use it all the time. Well, I did love it and use it all the time. The reason I am saying it in the past tense because this is my last SwissCard. And this SwissCard was utterly destroyed. Completely. I destroyed this thing. And how did I destroy this thing? Well, this is the pouch I carry. This is a Night Eye's pockets. And I carry this every day. And I carry it fully geared up. And this one is a little on the beat side. In fact, I plan on trying to put a snap in here, because I actually would prefer to have a snap closure in addition to the Velcro. So I may experiment on this one because it's getting near the end of its life. It's got some wear here, it's got some wear here. But at the moment, it is working. I got my pen, my flashlight, my multi-tool all set in there. So that's all well and good. The problem is that I was carrying it here, which is deep enough to hold it securely, so that's not an issue. But it meant that every time I would bump into something, and I wear this at work every day, I wear this out when I'm about every day, it was constantly being hit. So it'll be mounted like that in here. It was just being hit against everything, and I lost the pin years ago because the pin, again, it was too much damage. The knife got loose, and I'd actually laid in some electrical tape in there to help make up for the difference. And they have changed the design on that one. It's a more positive a locking mechanism now. The catch works a little better on the knife blade than it does on this one here. So that was nice. They changed that. They also made the LED white, which is nice. I think the white LED is actually a little more useful than a red one. Though the red one's nice if you're going to be using it in a car. So I want to make sure that I don't have this happen again. So I want to have some protection for this, but I need protection which is going to be light and which is going to be thin, because I don't want to take up, while there is space in here, I don't want a huge object that's going to completely obscure my ability to get it in and out quickly. You know what I mean? It's not going to make my life hard. So what am I going to do? What I'm going to do, I'm going to take this access plate, and this is just a standard access plate. You can pick these up for 60 cents at Home Depot, and it's just made out of galvanized steel. Nothing all that exciting there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the new one, because the new one's in much better shape, and outline here, and then go zoop, zoop, zoop. Well, actually, I'll probably go this way, then that way, and then cut that last piece off like that. So that I have a piece that I can put here, and then I will then find an easy method for attaching this to this that will allow me to get it in and out easily and quickly. I'm leaning at the moment, I'm leaning towards the idea of using more of that inner tube. Inner tube is awesome. So that's going to be my project for the moment, because I really want to get this up and functioning so I can start carrying again. I really miss having this SwissCard on my person. It is just so darn handy. And I'm keeping this stuff here. All of this stuff I'm going to throw into a plastic bag. In fact, I just took it out of a plastic bag prior to this. And keep it, because all the items that are included in this are functional. Scissors still work, the knife still works, the tweezers, the pen, all of that stuff still works, so I can have these as replacements if I ever lose the ones in the current SwissCard, or if I can find a use for them in the future. For example, this is still shaving sharp, and there may be a situation where this guy could just take this and throw it into a survival tin. This would be perfect for a survival tin. In fact, the SwissCard itself is perfect for a survival tin. The whole thing is. Scissors, knife, tweezers, magnifying glass. I mean, this thing is just begging to be put into a survival tin. Alright? But at 30 bucks. I don't want to just throw one into a survival tin and forget it. It's too useful as a daily device. And this little screwdriver I've actually found quite handy as well. So there you go. So the next project is going to be, next step is going to be outlining this. Unfortunately, because it's got these corners in here, these slots, I just can't make a 2-cut, and I don't want that corner involved in the process. I'm going to make it a little bit oversized, probably intentionally, so I can just nip the corners off a little bit and grind off the edges and such, so that it's not going to have any burrs. I don't want any burrs involved in the process, both to protect the pouch and the future pouch when I eventually get a replacement, and for my hands. You know, I don't want my hands be around burrs. That's never good. So, next step, lay out and then start to cut stuff. Since the plate in question has these handy dandy notches, I used those to secure it to the banister, and I'm going to be cutting right across here for my initial cut, and that'll make life a little bit easier for me later. It does mean that I'm not going to be able to do this method for all the cuts, but I'll be able to use some of the cuts this way, and might as well use the feature while it's available. First cut is done, and now I have set up for the second cut. And the first cut went quite nicely, and unfortunately I had to put the C-clamp in the vertical position, so it's going to be a little trickier to wrap myself around this for the cut, but at least it's secured, and I can still use one of the slots with a screw to help hold it in place. And here we are set up for the third cut. Now I've got the 2 screws here to keep it from moving in that direction or turning and moving in that direction, and this holding it in the clamp position. So hopefully, because I'll be cutting that way along that line, I will be able to get it nice and straight, and it won't be moving on me because there's not a lot of holding this in place, unfortunately. It's just that it's a small piece, and I don't have the right kind of rig to clamp this vertically for this kind of a cut. So, you know, you gotta work with what you got, you know? Okay, so there we go. This is the cut piece, and it is just about perfect. So now I need to knock the corners off and to knock the burrs off, because there is most definitely a burr on the edges of this thing, which isn't surprising. I'm using a cutoff wheel. It's not the most precision device in the universe when it comes to, you know, perfect cuts. That would be like a water knife or a laser or something like that. That gives you a nice clean edge. Cutoff wheels do not. So I'm gonna do the same trick probably with the screws and the clamp to try to get it so that I can push against it while it's clamped, hopefully not have it move. So I broke out a hand file to knock the corners off a little bit more, to round them over a little. Because the angle grinder, I just took those and kind of knocked the 45 into a 45-degree angle and used the hand file to round it over, make sure all the burrs were gone. So now I'm going to go and see if my idea of using some tire liner inner tube is going to work as far as affixing the SwissCard to the guard. Well, there we go, folks. One old inner tube, one pair of shears, and I have an armored SwissCard. It sits completely behind the card. Ever so slight metal showing all the way around. And I've got it, this thing actually is asymmetric. It's a bevel on one side for measuring. There's a ruler on one side. So I've got that against the flat so that there's absolutely as much contact as possible between the device and the guard itself. So when I put this in my pouch, it should be protected from the general abuse of the world at large. It's not going to be perfect because, you know, anything can hit me hard enough to dent this is going to damage the SwissCard, but anything less than that, which I think is probably going to be 99% of what I encounter on a daily basis, is going to just slide right off that. So that's pretty darn cool. So that's been a pretty simple modification, really. It's just, you know, 3 cuts with my angle grinder, my cutoff wheel,
and some deburring, a little bit of handwork with a file, and then one snip of, sorry for the reflection, one snip of inner tube, and we're good to go. So I'm going to give it a try now, and if there is any problems in the future with this particular setup, I will do a video about it. Just keep you updated. Now, I'm hoping that there won't be. That would be pretty darn cool. Bit of addendum to the guard I made for my new SwissCard. I carried it for a day and realized that I thought the corners were a little too sharp. So I came back with my Dremel tool and I rounded them out off some more, and then I took one of my sharpening stones and just knocked all the edges off, because there actually was a very slight roll on certain spots. So I got rid of all those, so now it's perfectly smooth. I also forgot to mention that with the exception of the flashlight and the screwdrivers, that little piece here, I can access all these tools with the guard in place, which is good because the tools I most often access are the scissors, the tweezers, the pin, and the knife. And the pin, the tweezers, and the knife are excellent for removing slivers from one's hands, something I encounter quite frequently when it comes to working in metal. So I thought I'd just add that in, that I did actually carry it for a day, decided it was a little too sharp, and rounded the corners off and knocked all the edges down, because I felt that there was a very slight burr still present.